Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you, as you know, from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. So we're going to look at the Astrology and Kabbalah of February 2022, and we'll get started now. So let's share my screen here. Okay, so I found the screen I wanted to share with you. So we're looking at the Astrology and Kabbalah, February 2022. This is part 1, Numerology and the Tree of Life. So as we do every month, we look at the number of vibrations. We look at the monthly vibration, we look at the universal year vibration, and we look at the vibration when you add those two vibrations together. Lots of good vibrations. So our monthly vibration, of course, is 2. February is the second month. And according to Jean, this is Numerology Spiritual Light Vibrations by Jean, 2 symbolizes all pairs of opposites, the duality in matter. This represents the energy of choice given to man as he enters the earth plane. As man learns to balance the energy of choice from the extremes, he conquers matter. Otherwise, man is controlled by matter in the material world. The universal year vibration. So every month we get a little bit deeper into this vibration, right? So we have 6, 2022, 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. Symbolizes responsibility and service that needs to be done with love and protection. The desire to bring harmony, peace, justice, and truth into all experiences of life. Well, let me tell you, I'm on board for that. I am definitely on board for that. And then if we add these 2 vibrations together, of course, we get an 8 vibration. And 8 symbolizes form that has solidified into matter. As you sow, so shall you reap. The energy of karma, the universal law of truth, that is cause and effect. Now, I want to talk a little bit about February for the U.S. In light of these vibrations, right? In light of the vibrations of the month, the year, and the combination of those 2. And why I want to bring in the U.S. is because the U.S. is having its Pluto return in February. In fact, there are 3 exact conjunctions of the transiting Pluto to the Pluto of the United States. The first one is occurring February 20th, 2022. It's a lot of 2s, right? But when we see the fact that what's significant with that is that the Pluto return is in its way a new level of expression of the soul of the US. And it's also a going back and evaluating the last sort of turn of Pluto in Capricorn. And the question that we have to ask is, how has the US utilized its power? Has it used its power for good? Has it abused its power? And so that is some of the questions that we are pondering, right, at this time. Or if not, these are the questions that need pondering. And so the 2 brings in the idea of choice. We have a choice. We can choose the path of utilizing our power for the material world or control of the material world, or we can use our power to realize that we needn't control it, in that It is there for us, and we can manifest with our higher vibrational energies to create the world that we want. The universal year of 6 at this time of the Pluto return, right? It symbolizes responsibility and service that needs to be done with love and protection. Service with love and protection. Love comes first, right? So a need to really sort of take care of one another and really sort of decide where our soul as a country lies. And then we get the 8 vibration. So as you sow, so shall you reap. And this may be the vibration that resonates with why I even brought this up. The idea of as you sow, so shall you reap. The decisions that we make now are going to have permutations for the next 250 years for this country. So we just need to be aware of that. We just need to be aware of that. Okay. So let's look at the tarot correspondences associated with these vibrations. So the 2 vibration, right, is the high priestess. It says the high priestess, Maga, well, I say Maga, but it says pronounce Mazha, which I never say, polarizes male and female, yang and yin, light and dark, positive and negative, action and reaction, flux and reflux, yes and no, imitative and it should be initiative and resistance, flood and ebb, wax and wane. So this too is the balance of the extremes. It is the not just a balance, but an understanding of the veil to a certain extent of duality. She represents the upper portion of the central pillar of the tree of life, which connects the world of the gods with the world of humans. The high priestess helps us clarify the purpose and potential of ourselves and our world. The 6th vibration, the Lover's card. This is the lovers represent the sword that slashes down through the cosmos, separating the whole of us into discrete forms. The Lover's card is associated with the sign of Gemini. And Gemini, ruled by Mercury, is a sign that separates things out into their constituent parts and names them, right? This is a great power, but it's also, Gemini is also the driving force or the epitome of duality. And so with this Gemini energy, we will see this year, I think, with this 6 vibration. And while we're calling for love and service and community and responsibility, we're also going to see the opposites. We're going to see the opposites. We're going to see both sides of things simultaneously, so we can make a choice. It says the sword distributes gender and polarity through the universe, creating a tension of opposites. It is the force that takes the limitless substance of the universe and categorizes it. So this is the energy of the Lover's card. Every month we'll go a little bit deeper into this 6 vibration and actually into the Lover's card, because we really are in a year connected to that card. Strength, this is the 8 vibration. Strength is the presence of the inner spiritual force creeps to the surface and materializes in the waking consciousness. The presence of the creative spirit is perceived. New potentials and change. This is the 8. This is how we manifest into form. This is how we manifest into form. We find and we discover the waking, the spirit within us, the Kundalini energy. And the rising of that Kundalini energy, the rising of that life force has us realize that we are co-creative with spirit and that we can create the world that we wish to live in. As you sow, so shall you reap. And if you sow seeds of peace, you will manifest peace. If you sowed seeds of division, you will manifest division. And so this reminds us that we must come from a place of unity, that no matter what we agree or disagree on, love, the force that holds all things together, needs to be the fallback position, needs to be the only position, actually, forward and fallback. It needs to be about love. In this vibration, we overcome the lower nature through love. I just say that. I didn't even read that, but anyway, the balance between construction and destruction, catabolism and I'm sorry, anabolism. Is that how you say it? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Doctor that I am, I can't say those words. Okay, as you sow, so shall you reap. You'll forgive me, I know. So if we look at the tree of life and where these cards sit on the tree of life, we can see and what paths are being activated on the tree of life through the vibrational frequencies of 2, 6, and 8. Incidentally, right, 2, 6, and 8 are all even numbers, right? Even numbers are the feminine. Even numbers are feminine. Odd numbers are masculine. So it is a time of introspection. It's a time of introspection in this February. And then, of course, for the US, having to look at its own shadow, because that's what Pluto also sort of symbolizes in the chart, is the shadow. And our shadow was about abuse of power. And while we were seeking our freedom, where did we abuse power to get what we want for greed and attachment to the material world? What did we do to the natives? What did we do to the Africans that were brought here on slave ships? And what have we done since? These are the things that we need to look at. How have we treated Mexicans? How have we treated, Mexican, our neighbor to the south? How have we treated immigrants? This country was based on religious freedom and a separation of church and state. Where are we in that? So the high priestess is found right here. Here it is, right here, on this path, connecting Hokmah, the crown, with Tiphereth, beauty. This is connected to the planet Pluto and also the planet Neptune. Pluto and Neptune sort of co-rule Kether, and the sun. So found in the middle pillar, spanning the abyss. The abyss lies right here. This is where the abyss lies. Connecting the divine heart of humanity, Tiphereth. Connecting the divine, Kether, to the heart of humanity, Tiphereth. The astrological attribution of this is the moon. We actually start the month with the new moon in Aquarius, and it's conjunct Saturn. We'll talk about that when we get to the astrology. The divine attributions, Isis, Mother Mary, some of the symbols of this energy, of this high priestess energy. The Hebrew letter is Gimel. Now I might be saying that wrong, so I apologize to my Hebrew friends out there who know how to speak Hebrew or pronounce Hebrew. Gimel, which means camel. This is the camel crossing the desert. It is easier for a camel to move through the eye of the needle than it is for a rich man to enter heaven. Right? That's this path right here. The Lover's card. The Lover's card sits right here, between Bina, the Sephiroth of understanding, the divine feminine, and Tiphareth, the sun, S-O-N-S-U-N, of God Goddess. This is the Prince of Peace, beauty, Tiphareth, the sun, the life giver. Saturn, that which creates boundaries so that life can form and life can gestate in Bina, the world womb. And so these forces, this constraining force of Saturn, in order to create unity in the hearts of men and women, the 6 here, right? We're going from 3 to 6. The 17th path, the separating or disposing intelligence, connects Bina, the Sephiroth of divine feminine, with Tiphareth, the Sephiroth of the sun, son of God, connecting the pillar of the present with the pillar of the future. The things that we choose at this time. Now, the 6 is a yearly vibration. So this is true of the entire year, not just for America, but for each individual, for every country, for each of us. We are creating the future with the choices that we make in the present moment. Strength. Now, the strength card sits right here along this path. The path straddling the pillars of the past, here, this is the pillar of the past, and the pillar of the future. The balance between production, Hesed, the place of mercy, associated with Jupiter, and Gebura, destruction, Mars. The Hebrew letter here is Teth, T-E-T-H, H-E-T-H, meaning serpents. Serpent, the Kundalini force. The serpent is the Kundalini, the intelligence of all secrets of all spiritual activities. This is totally found in the throat chakra, whose element is sound, and where we co-create with divine will. This is a balance. This requires much balance. So we have the 2, the 8, the 6. The 6 and the 2 cross the abyss. The 8, to a certain extent, it is below the abyss. This is the area of soul on the tree. Spirit, soul, mental, emotional, physical. Okay. So the next thing we're going to look at is the chakras that are activated in February. And we do this through the correspondences. of the numbers that are on the paths. So we have the crown. The crown is being activated. Kether is associated with the I am consciousness, the angel Metatron. It is known as the swirlings, the spiral arms, right? There's a vortex of energy here. This is all beginnings. This is unity consciousness. This is the mighty I am. And so this is our crown chakra. This is what's getting activated, our connection to spirit. This is activated by the path, this path here, which is the path of the high priestess. So February, direct connection from spirit to the heart of humanity. On the other end of that path, we find Tiphereth. Here's a representation of Tiphereth. One of the symbols of Tiphereth, of course, is the six-pointed star. The six-pointed star, the arrow moving down, the feminine, the arrow moving up, the masculine, the balance of the masculine and the feminine in the heart. This is what makes us human. It's the heart where the lower self and the higher self unite. We also have the third eye activated through the path of the lovers. Remember the path of the lovers connected Bina, understanding, associated with Saturn, the anima. This is the color associated with Bina is black. It is darkness, and it is in that darkness that we find the inner light. This is the divine feminine, the womb, the world womb. And that activates the third eye chakra this month. On the other side of that, on the other end of that path, we have Tiphereth, right? Here we have the throat chakra. The throat chakra is located here, of course. Its element is sound. This is where we co-create. Words matter. What we say matters. Are we speaking in love, or are we speaking in division? Are we speaking words of healing or words of harming? These are all things that we need to be aware of at this time. It seems to like a lot to be aware of, right? It's like, oh no, I can't say, I can't talk, I can't. You can. Just focus on that which you want to create. It's especially important now. You know, there's a part of me that wishes that somebody in the media who doesn't really care about me or what I have to say might listen to something like this, because they are really truly creating our reality. And if you tune into it, whatever you're tuning into, you're giving energy to. So be aware of that. It's important to know what's going on, but always know that that has to be balanced with a healthy dose of skepticism and a healthy dose of trusting your own intuition in things. Here we have Geburah and Hesed. This is the path of the strength card. In Geburah, we have severity. Elohim Gibur, God of battles. In Hesed, we have mercy. El, God of God, the mighty one. We have righteousness and Jupiter in Hesed, and vehement strength and Mars in Geburah. This is the balance of growth, and destruction. And when it's balanced, it is in a state of homeostasis. We are at a point where, at least it seems to me, that we are, sort of, we have to decide. And I think this is true in the United States. We have to decide, do we want to continue being the strong man, Gavura? Do we want to start taking care of those mercy, of those who need help? Jupiter is in Pisces right now. Mars is in Capricorn this month. Mars in Capricorn is the war machine. America, what are we choosing? And then, of course, this merciful. Now, it's not about totally going over to this side, because the world is a dangerous place. You may be evolved, but there are plenty of people that are not. So, who are still in this sort of Mars only place. But ultimately, it's a balance between the two. And so perhaps you need to see in your life where you're off balance. Are you always giving, or are you always taking? There needs to be a homeostasis in this. As you sow, so shall you reap. What you try to destroy, you create. Just create. Just create. In the next part, we're going to be looking at the astrology of February 2022. I think I'll just continue at this point. Usually I stop, but I will continue, and we will go through the first week. So the first week of February 2022, week 1, February 1st, we have a new moon at 13 degrees of Aquarius. We can see here in this chart, this is an Aries rising chart. This chart is for the US, in that where the ascendant is. The ascendant in this chart is, and the MC is indicative of the US. But this is a natural Aries rising chart, so we can get a real idea of the archetypes that are being expressed in this new moon. So the Sabian symbol for 13 degrees of Aquarius is a barometer. It says the ability to discover basic natural facts that allow us to plan for action. A barometer measures the pressure. And so we can look around and see where the pressure needs releasing and where the pressure need be applied in order to bring perhaps what we need to see in the future. Aquarius is a sign about raising all boats. It is the sign of humanitarianism, of caring about other people. The modern ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. And so when I see these new moons, I like to see what the rulers of whatever sign the new moon is in is doing. So we have Uranus at 11 degrees of Taurus, and Uranus is squaring quite tightly this new moon. And we can see this right here, 11 and 12, pretty much 13, a little over 12. So this is still a pretty tight square. This is a crisis in consciousness square. This is the square that has the nature of Aquarius. This is the square that has the nature of Uranus. To break free from the constraints of the powerful, those power above, power over, top down. This is the fascists. This is the military industrial complex of the US. This is Putin, right? This is the energy. Though that's the old way. The energy is to break free from that. Is to break free from that. 11 degrees of Taurus, a woman watering flowers in her garden. Development of the powers of the mind on which ego consciousness is based. What are you planting in your garden? What are you watering? What are you nurturing? Because that's what's going to sprout. The classical ruler of Aquarius is Saturn. And Saturn is at 16 degrees of Aquarius in a close conjunction to this new moon. So this new moon is planting seeds for, in part, the structures necessary to support the rising of all ships. Aquarius at 16 degrees, Saturn at 16 degrees of Aquarius, the Sabian symbol, a big businessman at his desk, the ability to organize the many aspects of an enterprise involving large groups of human beings. There's a new book out called The Davos Man. It's written by a New York Times reporter. I will give you his name. Hold on one moment. The name of the book is Davos Man, How Billionaires Devour the World and Fuel Global Inequality, Prolonging the Pandemic. And it's written by Peter S. Goodman. Peter S. Goodman. Something to check out. You can actually check out an interview done on Democracy Now! And that was a few days ago, January 21st. On Democracy Now! There was an interview with this gentleman, and it's a definite C, because there is a danger with this Aquarian energy for those who control the technology to take the place of government or to influence government in such a way that the government becomes an arm of the people who are in charge of these large, just people with, it doesn't even have to just be tech companies, but just people with a lot of money. They have all the control and they get to decide the direction. And so it takes away our our ability to self-determine what we want to do and where we want to go. And yet within that, we still have the power to co-create with spirit. So it's not like this is like, ugh, but it's something we need to be aware of. We need to take our power back and utilize it as a collective for the collective good. And that's really what Aquarius is about. But there is a dark side to Aquarius, and that's something we have to be aware of. And Pluto's about to go in Aquarius, and it's going to be there for 20 years. So we do have to go in with our eyes wide open. The Sabian symbol, a big businessman at his desk, which is why I bring up the Davos Man. The ability to organize the many aspects of the enterprise involving a large group of human beings. I said that already. And we can see here that Saturn is conjunct this new moon. Square, rebellious Aquarius in Taurus. Who's rebelling? Mother Earth is rebelling for sure. but also our animal souls, our animal nature, our need for survival, this is coming up in people, and they're going to do what they're going to do to survive. And some of that is going to be not so nice to see, and some of it is going to be amazing. We are not the enemy. We are not each other's enemy. Divide and conquer, that's how they do. Unify, and we move forward. Okay. So the interesting thing about the new moon in Aquarius every year is that is the beginning of the Chinese calendar. And this new moon in Aquarius brings in the year of the water tiger. The water tiger. It says the year of the tiger allows us to tap into our inner power and know that there is nothing we can't achieve when we put our minds to something. In fact, the year of the tiger is often a positive omen when it comes to career advancement. And then you bring in the element of water, which is about feelings and connectedness. And the fact that even the mightiest mountain, given enough time, that water, the flowing of water, will bring it down. Or a tiny crack with water freezing into ice can bring down the side of a mountain at the right time. Compassion, love can melt any heart, any hardened heart. Over here, we have the new moon in Aquarius. Hopefully you can see it. It's the same new moon that we looked at. We see the sun, moon, and Saturn. We see the square from Uranus over here. But this is the chart exactly for the US. And we have a Scorpio rising. This is transformation. Scorpio rising puts Mars and Pluto in charge of this chart. Here's Pluto, 26, 57, less than a degree away from the US Pluto. In fact, it will be 19 days later when we have our first Pluto return in the US. Mars had 5 degrees of Capricorn. Mars at 5 degrees of Capricorn. The United States Jupiter is at, I believe, 3 degrees of Cancer. So Mars is opposite Jupiter. Remember in the Tree of Life, Mars, Geburah, opposite Hesed, Jupiter, right? As you sow, so shall you reap. So there's a little bit of a key of what we can do with this new moon. We have Uranus in a square to this new moon, the new moon in the third house. The third house is the house of the media in a mundane chart. We have to be very aware of where the news is coming from and who has a stake. And not to say that the news is fake. It is a thing that we need to know about, but it's all the other stuff around it that we have to be careful. We have to make our own minds up. Don't let your mind be made up for you. Takes a lot of effort, though, I'll give you that. If we, and I'm sorry, this is in the 7th house of relationship. asking for a new way to relate to what? Friends and enemies. Friends and enemies. Let's relate in a new way to friends and enemies. All right, let's keep going. On February 3rd, 2022, Mercury will station direct at 25 degrees of Capricorn. Mercury's been direct since January, I think 14th it was. It went retrograde at, I think, 10 degrees, I think it was 10 degrees of Aquarius, 10 or 11 degrees of Aquarius. And now it has gone all the way back into Capricorn. 25 degrees of Capricorn, a store filled with precious Oriental rugs. The use of cultural and artistic processes as a means to enhance personal comfort and appreciation. Mercury is not out of its shadow until February 24th, when it reaches 11 degrees of Aquarius. This is the chart with the Aries ascendant. And we have Mercury right here, stationing. You can see that. This is actually stationing opposite the US Mercury, which is retrograde at about 25 degrees of Cancer. And of course, Pluto opposite Pluto. I mean, Pluto on Pluto. And also, at this time, the United States is having a Neptune opposition. The last time Neptune was opposite, the natal Neptune, was during the Civil War. That's why we keep hearing all of this Civil War stuff coming up. Civil War, Civil War, Civil War. Do you want a civil war? Then focus on it. On the 4th of February, we have February. Sorry. We have Sun make its conjunction to Saturn. This happens every year. Remember, the Sun was very close. The new moon was very close to Saturn, but it wasn't conjunct Saturn. And now we have it at a conjunction of Saturn. I mean, at a conjunction of 16. We still have the square to Uranus, although it is a little wider now. It is a little wider now. 16 degrees of Aquarius, a big businessman at his desk. Saturn, Sun, Saturn. The key word is humanity needs to be totally reevaluated if mankind is to actualize the spiritual potentialities implied by the evolutionary transformation just ahead. This was written back in the 70s, this book. This is Dane Rudger's Sabian symbol book. That's where I get the Sabian symbol information from. Humanity needs to be totally reevaluated if mankind is to actualize the spiritual potentialities implied by the evolutionary transformation just ahead. The challenge of unity in diversity. In the many, the one. Unity. Organization should be the key word. Well, actually, organization. That's what he used to make up words. I make up words too, so I can appreciate. Organization should be the key word rather than the mere organization. For humanity now can and should realize that it is indeed an organism. Humanity is the interface between the spiritual and the earthly. We, as we evolve, God evolves, and everything at a lower vibrational frequency than us evolves. We are all evolving together. We're there for the ride, guys. How do you want your ride to be? Do you want it to be bumpy? Or would you like to just go with the flow, like the Hopi says? Let go of the shore, push yourself into the middle of the river, and look around and see who's there with you. The Sun conjunct Saturn in the chart erected for Washington, D.C., shows the conjunction in the 8th house. In mundane astrology, the 8th house is the house associated with public morality, death rate, and the kinds of people who die, death duties, financial relations with foreign countries. That's where Saturn, the structure of our reality, and the sun, the life force energy, comes together in the chart for the US. The major aspects to the Sun-Saturn conjunction is a last quarter square to Uranus and Taurus from the 11th house. In mundane astrology, the 11th house is the parliament, the House of Commons, town and country councils, and similar bodies, friends of the nation, and legislation. This is the Congress. This is the Senate, the 11th house. What can we do to help people who need the help? What can we do? Will we take this opportunity and waste it through the obstructionism that we see and the continued separation of factions? Or will we speak and tell our, I mean, it's not even like I could say you're elected officials, but they may not listen. And so your power and the power of the group is to focus your intentions on what you want to see. You want to see peace, to see peace. And we also have to love, because those people who don't want peace are still sort of coming from a place of woundedness, right? And, you know, as Jesus said, love your enemy, for the enemy is you. I don't actually know if he said that, but that makes sense to me. Everybody in our life is a reflection of a part of us. Self-love is not egotistical. Self-love is necessary for our very survival. Love of self, love of our earthly self, love of our divine self comes together in the heart, in Tippereth, in the center of the tree, connected to the number 6, the hexagram, right? Or the hexagon, the bee, right? All these little hexagons where they take the honey that they make and they store it for the community. Okay. So what I'm going to be doing this month is what I did last month. I'm going to be going, I do the first week with this particular chart or this particular reading, and then I will be doing them again at the end of next week. Like, so every week you'll see the week ahead. People seem to really like that. So if you like this video, please say you like it so more people can see it. The more you like it, the more people get to see it. And if you think this is valuable information, please share it. I do share my perspectives, my feelings, and my understandings with you in an attempt to spread my own light, or to spread what or to spread the light that is within me, that has been developed through a lifetime of study and a lifetime of working with people who are suffering and easing that suffering in the way that I did 30 years as a chiropractor. If you would like to do a reading with me, astrology, Kabbalah, numerology, you can go on my website, theseedsoftransformation.com, and you can go to the services page to see what services we offer. I am teaching classes. I am starting a transit and return class for intermediate students. That's starting Saturday the 25th of, no, Saturday the 29th of January. I will be starting a new beginners class probably in March, and I'm also looking to start a new Kabbalah class in March as well. You can go to my events page to see when that's going to happen. As soon as I've made a decision on dates and how I'm going to do it, I usually do 6-week courses, but I may do maybe like 2 weekend intensives or something like that for the Kabbalah. I'll have to see. It's very intense information. And instead of giving it to you in giant gulps, perhaps we can just nibble at it a little at a time. All right, guys, take care. Have a great February. I will see you again for this the astrology of the second week of February in about a week. So take care, everyone. Much love. Namaste. We're going to do this, guys. We're going to do it. We can do it. I'm very hopeful for 2022. Take care, everyone.